So I'm not sure why the Spirit is having me do this devotion. About the mold. This has been not several, but I think about 3 to 4 years back. And I'm like, Lord, what? You're bringing this to me now? It is 4:58 in the morning, right? And I have been up, though. I've been singing and having devotions, but just sitting with the Spirit. But now this popped up. I'm like, okay, I don't want to be, out of order. So whatever it is, let me sit up. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. I have no voice right now. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Okay, well, it's still a yes. Let's see. I think maybe now I have unplugged my TVs and put them all in the closet. So I'm not exactly sure. I normally hear things from word of mouth about what's going on. But I imagine when the Spirit brought this to me, it may be some people that are fighting certain things in the legal system or the court of law. And they may seem, I don't know, like corrupt, for the lack of a better term. So going back to my experience years ago, I was in this apartment out in California. So this is, the area. And all of a sudden, I couldn't take a few steps without, losing my breath. Like, I couldn't make it. Like, what is going on? Now, mind you, COVID is already, well, it hasn't gone, but it came in 2020. Well, it was here before that, I'm told, by nurses and whatnot. But nevertheless, when it was announced, I guess more publicized, was around that time. So, it lingered for a while around places, there were people quarantined and just masks and, social distancing, so many things going on. But this was a bit after that, initial, I guess, scare. So, I'm like, I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't make a bed. I would be afraid of going into a store thinking I could not make it back out. I didn't know what was happening. That's how fatigued I was. How, short of breath, and my heart would race. I'm a walker. Usually I would walk paths and trails like miles long. I would go to Huntington Beach, and there's a, God, how long is that trail? It's right by the coast. It's really pretty. People ride their bikes. It's not on the main road or by the main road. It's like up away from that. So, it's literally, I think, like right off is it off the coast? I'm trying to remember. Yeah. I guess it's like a boardwalk maybe. I don't know. But nevertheless, I would walk that all the way up to Jack in the Box. What street is that? I don't know what light that is. And then go all the way back down. So nevertheless, I would just be walking for like 3 hours or so. Just, I'm not a power walker. I'm a stroller. I usually have my devotions and I meditate. Not really meditate, but devotions, I guess. I'll leave it there. I don't know what my time is doing. Okay, I'm at 4:40. So I guess that being said, I'm a walker. I could walk for hours. But now, at this point in time, a few years back, I was afraid to go on a small park trail. Like, I'm not going to make it back. Like, I don't know what's happening to me. So, I must have seen a doctor. What happened? No, I think I was cleaning, and I must have been trying to get like the baseboards or something. So I'm in the kitchen and I opened the cabinet under the sink, and then I see all of this, I guess it was black mold in the walls. I'm like, what is that? So there had been a leak I was unaware of. And it was like in the walls, and whatever smell that was, or, spores, I don't know. But that was the cause of my shortness of breath, my heart, things sounding off. Wait, did I go to the doctor before then or after that? It's a little fuzzy. I'm trying to remember the chain of events. Because I was gone. I had the worst brain fog ever. I knew then, because of everything that was going on, not to even leave the kitchen. If I put something on, stay right there. Because I was so tired. I was so exhausted. So anyways, I do remember having gone to the doctor. I'm not sure exactly what point, but they gave me a heart monitor. So I took that with me. It was attached to me. And whenever it, not when it sounded off, whenever my heart raced, I guess, or it jumped up, it would, I guess, send a message. Now, I remember, I won't do that part. Okay. So I had that. I did some different tests and breathing tests. They didn't really know what was going on. I'm like, I don't know. I just, I can't take a few steps. Especially when I'm in that apartment and I was coughing like crazy, like nonstop. That I do remember. I coughed so bad that now I'm like, I still crack because of that coughing from a few years ago that would not cease. So I don't know what I damaged, but, messed up something. But anyways, I didn't have that before. So, should I just jump to okay, so when I finally discovered, well, did I do the doctors again? No, I won't go back to the doctor. So anyways, I told the leasing office, what I saw. And what did they do? They sent out these experts, I guess environmental experts, to come out and test. They had to move me out of that apartment like ASAP. Into another property while they were having to take all that out. But when I gathered my things, I had to come back, and I asked the landlord, can I go back in? I need some more stuff that I didn't get the first time. She said, okay. And when I went in, there was all this tape. It was like sectioned off. It was from the wall, sealing to the floor. Enclosed the kitchen. I guess they were tearing things out or whatever. And they had marked, what did they mark? I think, I don't know, some type of hazard testing or whatever it was. But nevertheless, I got my things and I left. So, I could not work, needless to say, during that time, and fell behind. And while I'm out on, at a different property, they served me a notice. I'm like, now I think I reached out. Yeah, I had already reached out to them that I wasn't well, and I didn't know what was happening. And then of course I discovered that mold or whatnot. They could have cared less. Um, so, oh God, there was so much that had happened. I can't even recall. But nevertheless, I went to court. They, the landlord, actually, I asked for the results of the testing. That's what it was. They wouldn't disclose it to me. I'm like, I can give this to my doctor. We don't know what's going on. You know, at first, the leasing agent said she would let me know so I could, pass it on to my doctor, because I told her I had been really sick and ill. I didn't know what was happening. But then I guess she consulted the corporate office of the community, and they was like, I don't give it to her. So they refused to let me see what was found in that apartment so I could get help. What's my time doing? 11. Okay. So meanwhile, I have been laid up, unable to walk, barely breathing, heart just racing and jumping. And I couldn't get the results from the landlord that they initially promised me. Or a break, really, on paying the rent. And they served me while I was at a different property, So the quit notice. I'm like, okay, Lord, what do I do? So this is my situation. I'm ill. I'm laid up. I even applied for disability, I think short term, because I was just like, I was done. I literally, I talked to this guy a couple of days ago. He said he had an out of body experience where he just, he was lying down, but then he came out of his body and he could see himself. I'm like, that is how I felt. Like I had just left my body at one point. That's how ill I was. Like I felt like I was gone, literally. But I came back, or I came back into my body. So anyways, I remember having that experience as well. But so in the courts, the trial, there was so much that had transpired. I know, one, like I mentioned, they said that they would release the results, and they didn't, so I didn't have that, to take to my doctor. And when they served me, I think there was something wrong with them serving me like they did. And I believe they had done it twice, but I wasn't there. So I don't know. It was something that was off. That was illegal. That was done, While I'm asking for help or, I guess, accommodations. I don't know what all that is. But nevertheless, I went to legal aid. I went to different places. And, during the trial, the attorneys... and the property manager and whatever leasing agent, they lied, They actually falsified evidence. I had to go through all of that stuff and exhibits, and show where they, what did they bring? I know the quit orders that was illegal or something. What else? The results of the testing. It was something else that they had. Actually, I had been there for several years, and they lied about something in there too. I don't know, that was false, so I had to present that too. Whatever it is, So, long story short, I remember the attorney for the property manager, saying something about money. That's the bottom line, blah, 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 whatever. I'm talking about how sick I was and how they wouldn't give me the results so I could get help. And they said they would, and they wouldn't, and they were serving me and all this stuff and blah, 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 And I'm sure there was a lot more, because there's some legal term. I can't think of it. Oh, God. There was some fraud involved too with what they presented, and then they took off, from their exhibits. I'm like, wait a minute, I had to present my proof, my evidence. But I do remember the attorney speaking for the property management saying something like it's all about, money, how much I owe, and nothing about how sick I was. And I had been there at least, I think, 6 or so years at this property, right? And I had reached out to them as well, not knowing what was going on with my health. And of course, there was a leak. There had been several notices over months where they were coming in to repair the plumbing. I think they constantly shut the water off. I don't know what was happening in my building, but there was just a lot of stuff going on, And I don't think I saved all those, but normally I would get like an email, so it may be something, it most likely was something they knew about and just covered up. When I brought it to them, and they denied certain things. What was it, Lord? Yeah, so anyways, whatever was happening, I'll leave it there. I won't say covered up, mostly denied. I think that's a better word for it. I had to go through all of my emails and show the courts, what was happening, and the pictures as well that I took. Had I not taken those pictures, I don't know, of the black spots and whatnot under the wall. So I presented all that stuff, but nevertheless, they fought and they fought and they fought. And what I guess I had to do for my own well-being was give it to God. Because I'm like, Lord, I don't know what's happening in this court. Like, what is, they're just denying and they're lying and they're, whatever. It's about greed. It's nothing about, the tenant that's been there for several years that's sick. That's probably, near death at that point. But I came back. I was on bed rest for a minute. To recuperate. I was taking all kinds of things and teas and turmeric and vitamins and whatnot, because bottom line, the doctors didn't know what was happening, and I didn't have the test from the environmental testing to show them. I did allergy panels and all kinds of stuff, but it was rest. It was me taking all those things over the counter that I whatever I could, B complex, iron, I don't know, all the vitamins, the oils, the vitamin C, flaxseed, what am I missing? I already said turmeric. Oh, there was just so much that I took, and I pretty much just had to rest. I had to keep exercising a little bit. I felt like I relearned to walk. Because, again, as I mentioned before, I was afraid to even, go into the store thinking I wouldn't make it back. Or to a trail, or to a small trail, thinking I wouldn't make it back. So my time's about to run out. There was no justice in the court of law. Let me just leave it there. However, I had to release it to God. And when you do that, for me, when I gave the battle to God, He healed my heart. He healed my soul. When I stopped chasing demons and people and evil and trying to prove and no, that's not my assignment. And I learned not to worry, not to do that ever again. I think I still trusted certain systems in place, and I've learned over time. I've made several posts about corruption. It's best to give it to God.